Melanie, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Susanna described herself as from MoralFairGround. She's the founder and creator of MoralFairGround. She did this very much on her own in the beginning, and it has been through her great networking and collaboration that this fine organisation has grown and why we're here today. I'd like to also pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land and to any elders past and present. I think it's no coincidence that I'm here today, and it's not just because I'm aware of the work of MoralFairGround, but because Youth Projects, the charity I head up, has been in this region for over 30 years. We're headquartered in Glenroy, but we operate throughout this sort of outer north region in a variety of ways. So we're very youth-focused, youth-specific, and it's a wraparound model. Very rarely does a young person presenting to us have one small problem, if only that was so. It's usually a multiple set of issues that need addressing in terms of being able for them to find a path forward in their lives. So we need to respond with multiple supports and make that easier by putting the support in one place. In a service system that can be confusing and fragmented, we try and make it more seamless and to have help ready on the spot at the point at which a young person comes forward and is with us. And that's proving very, very effective and is considered best practice. It's not easy to do, but we've been doing it for a long time. We see that the whole person, not just the problem, and work from that prism. We have mental health counselling, drug counselling. We run a medical practice as well for free. We have outreach nurses, outreach youth workers out on the road. Some drug safety workers out till 2 a.m, very late at night, 7 nights a week. A lot of our work is done on foot, in situ where the problem is. And we are also, importantly, a youth-specific employment and education service. There are not many that are youth-specific, and young people obviously do better, and the evidence shows in something that's youth-specific. We're also a new disability employment service, so working with young people who have a disability in terms of their opportunities to participate in the community, to get skills and a job and move forward. We're right up there in this region doing that as well. And we're very, very good at what we do. I'm not an employee of Youth Projects, I'm the chair of the board, but in keeping my eyes on what's going on, I couldn't be more proud and have members of our team, Renee and Wendy Casper. Wendy's our executive manager and the best person I can think of if you wanted to talk around helping young people. The reason that we're very good at what we do is balancing the needs of what employers want and working with people who are prepared to give young people a break and supporting their business interests with the interests of the young person and making sure it matches up and it comes through to a successful outcome and that success is sustained. It's life-changing for the young person and for everyone else around them. The reason is we know statistically that children of unemployed parents are more likely to become unemployed adults, and their children are also more likely to become unemployed. An unemployed teen from a family where they are unemployed or not working sufficiently will go on to be an unemployed adult. That is a statistical near certainty. Also, that disadvantaged youth will stay longer on welfare, something between 2 and 5 years at least, and that's a very long time. And during that time, they're falling further behind in their skills, their confidence, their well-being. So there is nothing good about that set of circumstances. They will suffer ongoing and persistent bouts of unemployment. When they find work, it will be haphazard, it will be unskilled work, and it will be insecure. So you can't plan a life around that. And it's the start of a very slippery slope. We work in the homelessness sector as well for homeless youth, and we can see young people on the precipice of something very bad happening if something doesn't happen now. So we know that if one person gets a job, we are changing the dynamics of the whole household and into the future. So employment changes lives generationally and is the single biggest game changer for what's going on up here. Early intervention and prevention is our best response to what is a growing problem. It's a bit bleak, but the good news is that organisations like Youth Projects are turning that around. So I can be sound like a very depressing person, but I have good news. And that is, we know what to do, we know what works, a pretty good idea, and we're seeing it work and it's evidence-based. So for example, in this region, we have a caseload already of over, engaging around 1,300 kids aged, roughly 15 to 21. Of those, we've got 836 back into education, into a job that is sustainable and ongoing, that they are happy with and that the employer is happy with them. And back into education as well. So these kids, what's happening is that by year 7, they're almost not turning up. They're supposed to be at school, but they're not turning up. By year 8 and year 9, it's become a regular occurrence. So very few, I think less than 1 or 2% make it to year 12. So this early intervention and getting that U-turn early on is one of the most critical things I think that a local community can help people achieve. It's going to make a sustained impact. And we can only do this if members of the local community get behind us. Every one of those 836 young people got there because somebody took a leap of faith into employing a local young person. When we talk about doing good in our community, I think employment is a very good example. I know that online job advertising is very imperfect. It's imperfect for employers and it's imperfect for the young person, and particularly for young people it creates barriers because they never get to see an employer. Their contact with an employer is minimal. And I think there's that online stuff is very disengaging and impersonal. So when they work through us, those opportunities are created and their vision is expanded. So I think that my vision is about doing good is something we embed as an employer. It's business as usual, it's not an add-on, it's not something we bolt on. Now, what I don't want is you to view it as charity. And I'm the head of a charity. Most of the time I spend begging and annoying people for fundraising and donations and this and that. That's the story of the life of someone who's head of a charity. So I'm normally out there saying, can you donate to youth projects? And I'm not saying that. This is not about it being a charitable endeavour. No amount of charity will do this. A lot of businesses, school groups, service groups want to help, and we get an awful lot of socks and jocks and bread and baked beans and second-hand clothing, and let me tell you, that is used up fast and goes out. We can barely keep up with the supply. But these aren't game changers. They are not game changers. The actual systemic change is the thing that will bring the most good. And what is really donated and really can't be donated is opportunity. And we want to change that dialogue. Nobody's asking an employer to donate a job. That's not what's being asked. But I think what I'm saying about local business is that we can donate or work together on opportunity. If you've got something to give opportunity because it's desperately needed. If you can work together to give young people a chance to study, to mentor them, to job share, to advocate on their behalf, and to speak positively about young people in this community, to show trust in young people and think differently about them. Now, the challenges ahead can seem very hard, and for us for a long time it's felt like we are battling alone and in isolation around a problem that is in crisis, that is predictable and that is preventable. So, the opportunity to talk collaboration with the business community is absolutely critical. What we do know around this area is that young people in Whittlesea are in crisis. They're leaving school too soon. They don't have the skills for the jobs that are available. Even if they did have those skills, they're going to struggle to compete with slightly older, more mature or more experienced workers anyway. They can't live where the jobs are. The jobs are being created in the inner urban areas, not here, in the inner middle suburbs. They can't afford to grow up, move out and become adults. that is just a terrible thing to think and what we were all used to. Their parents are all experiencing financial distress, and these young people have told council that they are experiencing bullying ongoing, bullying at school, bullying at home, bullying in the community, mental health problems. They are bored, lonely and isolated. This is a terrible set of circumstances, but it can be changed. Now, I do want to talk about, Wendy, perhaps you could hold that piece of paper up for me. I had a look at the statistics in the local area, and this is the thing that really concerns me because we're not seeing a lot of movement and something has to change. So the unemployment rate was 11.6% in 2011. It's probably higher than that 2016, we're at 15.4% for unemployed youth. If you look, there are 27,000 in 2016, 27,000 young people in the Whittlesea area, and 4,160 are unemployed. But if we look at the growth projections that we know are very real for a very rapidly expanding growth corridor, that becomes 41,000 young people, and if we extrapolate, we're going to have 6,300 or more unemployed youth 15 to 21 years old. And that 2031 actually is not that far away. Equally, that at that same time, there will be nearly 21,000 kids who are about to enter their teen years. So by 2033, we've got another crop of young people, and the chances are this lot haven't even got into a job if we don't do something. And sometimes I feel help isn't coming, so therefore, what can we do for ourselves? So thanks, Lindy. And I think collaboration is a key part of that. Local action, concerned citizens, a robust and successful business community. They say a place with a plan is a place with a future. That's certainly what we want to do. And I think that we can work together on a better future, collaborating for social good, taking matters into your own hands, knowing that you're not alone, feeling positive and empowered, that if you do something, this will and can change, and intervening early enough to make a difference so it doesn't seem too hard or hopeless. On the upside in Whittlesea, there's a whole lot on the positive side of the ledger. If you look at what the local community is saying, you've got a growing community, a diverse community, a young community. What they're saying is they care about their future and they want to have a say in it. They want more say. They don't want to be isolated, they want to feel safe and connected. They want to be better parents, and they want financial security and security for their children. So these are the things you want. These are the building blocks in a community that people are saying. That's what they think. I do just want to leave you with a thought around the fact that we talk about getting people job ready, and whether we couldn't just get jobs a bit more people ready for people that need to move into those jobs. Most of the young people we see are highly disadvantaged, and they are struggling with the mainstream cookie-cutter uniform approach to job search in a highly competitive job market. And for many of them who've had no contact, it is brutal for them, their first contact with an employer if that is done without support. And it just sends them into a further spiral of feeling depressed and unable. And that's where we come in, around that not happening, and not happening for the employer. So the employer has a positive experience as well. But we do tend to think young people will just fit neatly into a job market they didn't design and don't understand. And can we really expect them to compete on an even footing when they haven't had the same life chances as others in the job market? So as citizens, we can be wealth creators, building networks and reciprocity, developing and investing in our social capital and in our people to support young people. We can develop local skills and employment strategies, work collaboratively to think about mutual interests and help in overcoming the stigma around employing a young person. There are a lot of barriers thrown up, and people don't understand that you can employ a young person off the unemployment list and have an incredibly successful experience, and most likely that is what would happen. I think building local wealth and supply chains in our local community, using public procurement in terms of increasing the dollar spent in here and keeping wealth local, not letting it flow out again in what we create and what we retain in our local community. There are strategies for doing that and developing small business and social enterprise in our local area. So for us, these models have been central to our success and our national reputation for effectiveness, well above other providers. We're very, very good at getting the cut through. We work collaboratively with employers. We also have access to things like wage subsidies and programs that can help a small business that you will be likely eligible for, and we can help you understand that how that works and cut through the red tape and paperwork. So we would invite you to join with us to ask us anything, share your fears, your ideas, and let us be part of the problem solving, because we can work together and we can do this, we can make that positive change. Thank you.